Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, let me tell you something. There comes a time in life when you've got to stop justifying yourself to people who will never see your worth. Some folks are not here to understand you. They're here to drain you. They're not confused about you. They're committed to misunderstanding you. You can pour out your heart, explain your intentions, and lay your truth bare. But if their spirit ain't right, if their heart ain't pure, they will twist, distort, and weaponize your words against you. So, why waste your breath? Why keep defending yourself to people who have already decided they don't want to see the good in you? It's time to stop explaining yourself to the demons in people. Stand firm in who you are, and let your life, your actions, and your blessings do the talking. There are people in this world who don't seek understanding, they seek control. You think if you just explain yourself one more time, if you say it differently, if you break it down in a way they can grasp, then maybe, just maybe, they'll see your heart. But the truth is, they see it already. They just don't care. They don't want clarity, because clarity would mean losing their grip on you. Clarity would mean they could no longer manipulate your emotions, keep you second-guessing yourself, or make you feel like you owe them something. When someone is committed to misunderstanding you, no explanation will ever be enough. You could lay out every fact, every truth, every honest intention, and they would still find a way to twist it. They don't want to see the good in you, because their power comes from keeping you in a place of defense, constantly explaining, constantly justifying, constantly proving yourself. And as long as you stay in that cycle, they win. Because the moment you step back, the moment you stop engaging, the moment you refuse to let their opinion shape your reality, that's when they lose control. You've got to recognize when someone is using confusion as a weapon. Not everyone who asks you a question is looking for an answer. Not everyone who brings up a misunderstanding is looking for resolution. Some people just want to keep you off balance. They want to see you scramble. They want to see you sweat. They want you so caught up in trying to prove you're not what they accuse you of being, that you don't even realize they were never interested in the truth to begin with. Think about the times you've tried to explain yourself to someone who had already made up their mind. No matter how much proof you provided, no matter how patient you were, no matter how genuine your words, did it change anything? Or did they just find another way to doubt you, to discredit you, to make you feel like you still hadn't done enough? That's not an accident. That's by design. Because as long as you're trying to convince them, you're giving them power. As long as you're waiting for their approval, they control your peace. And let me tell you something, you don't need their approval. You don't need their permission to be who you were created to be. You don't need them to understand you for your purpose to be real. Some of the greatest people who ever walked this earth were misunderstood, criticized, doubted, and rejected. But they didn't waste time arguing with those who refused to see the truth. They kept moving. They kept building. They let their actions, their results, and their legacy speak for them. It's time to stop explaining yourself to people who have no intention of listening. If someone truly values you, they will take the time to understand you. They will ask with an open heart, not with a hidden agenda. They will listen not just to respond, but to learn. And if they can't do that, if they refuse to see your growth, your effort, and your sincerity, then that's not your burden to carry. Let them think what they want. Let them say what they will. Because at the end of the day, their opinion does not define you. The only people who need constant explanations are the ones who refuse to accept the truth. And the truth is, you are not responsible for their inability to see what's real. You are not obligated to prove yourself to those who have already decided not to believe in you. Your energy, your time, your peace, they are too valuable to waste on people who benefit from keeping you small. So stop explaining, stop justifying, stop playing their game. The moment you decide to walk away from that cycle, you reclaim your power. And once you take that power back, you'll realize something. You never needed their approval in the first place. There comes a point in life when you realize that certain conversations no longer serve you. As you grow, as you evolve, as you step into the person you were meant to be, you begin to recognize that not every debate is worth your time. Not every misunderstanding needs to be cleared up, and not every opinion about you deserves a response. What once seemed important, defending yourself, explaining your choices, proving your worth, starts to feel exhausting, unnecessary, and even beneath you. That's not arrogance, that's growth. Growth isn't just about learning more, it's about learning what no longer deserves your energy. There was a time when you would have engaged in arguments just to prove a point, just to show someone that you were right, that your heart was in the right place, that you were worthy of their respect. But as you elevate, as you start walking in your purpose, you find that those arguments don't feed you anymore. They drain you. They pull you backward when your entire being is trying to move forward. When you're focused on becoming the best version of yourself, your spirit naturally rejects anything that tries to pull you back into who you used to be. There are people in your life who only know that version of you, the one who needed validation, the one who sought approval, the one who cared too much about what others thought. And because they only know that version, they will try to engage you in the same old conversations, the same old drama, the same old cycles. But something inside you will start to shift. You won't even have to force it. One day, you'll just wake up and realize you don't have the energy for it anymore. You will hear the same accusations, the same misunderstandings, the same attempts to bait you into proving yourself, but you won't take the bait. Not because you don't have a response, not because you couldn't win the argument, but because the argument itself is irrelevant. It doesn't matter if they misunderstand you. It doesn't matter if they don't see your growth. It doesn't matter if they still talk about who you used to be. The only thing that matters is that you know who you are now, and where you are headed. Growth means letting go of the need to be understood by people who have no intention of understanding you. Some people thrive on keeping you at their level. They don't want to see you rise because your elevation exposes their stagnation. When you start moving differently, thinking differently, talking differently, they will try to pull you back into the old ways. Because if you've changed, that means they have to question why they haven't. And most people would rather keep you where you were than confront their own refusal to grow. That's why, as you elevate, you start to notice a shift in your circle. The people who once had so much to say about your choices, about your journey, about your dreams, they start to fade into the background. Not because you cut them off with anger or resentment, but because you simply stop engaging in conversations that lead nowhere. You stop explaining your decisions to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You stop defending your growth to those who refuse to grow themselves. You stop seeking approval from people whose opinions have no impact on your destiny. And the most beautiful part of this process, it's freeing. You no longer feel burdened by the weight of other people's expectations. You no longer feel the need to shrink yourself to fit into spaces that no longer align with who you are becoming. You no longer waste your breath on conversations that drain your spirit. Instead, you walk with confidence, with clarity, with purpose, knowing that the right people will see your growth without you having to explain it. When you grow, you outgrow the need to prove yourself. You outgrow the need for validation. You outgrow the fear of what others will say. And in doing so, you step fully into the person you were always meant to be. Your energy is one of the most valuable things you have. It fuels your dreams. It shapes your mindset. It determines how far you go in life. But too often, people waste that energy on things that don't deserve it, on arguments that don't matter, on people who refuse to listen, on situations that drain instead of build. And the biggest trap, feeling like you have to explain yourself to those who have already decided they don't believe in you. Every time you break down your thoughts, your decisions, your actions for someone who is committed to misunderstanding you, you are giving away pieces of yourself. You're handing over your peace, your focus, your strength, little by little, until you're left feeling drained and frustrated. And for what? To convince someone who has already made up their mind, to win over people who never had good intentions in the first place. That's not wisdom, that's wasted effort. Some people ask you questions not because they truly want to understand, but because they want to see you squirm. They want to make you second guess yourself. They disguise their negativity as curiosity, acting as if they're just trying to get clarity, just trying to have a conversation, just trying to keep it real with you. But deep down, their goal is not to understand, it's to keep you engaged in foolishness, to keep you defending yourself, to keep you proving something that doesn't need to be proven. You don't have to entertain that. You don't have to show up to every argument you're invited to. You don't have to sit at tables where your presence is only valued as long as you're explaining yourself. Protect your spirit. Protect your mind. Protect the energy that you need for things that actually matter. You have too much to do, too much to build, too much to accomplish to be wasting your strength on meaningless conversations with people who have no intention of seeing you clearly. Think about how many times you've walked away from a conversation feeling completely exhausted, not because it was a deep or important discussion, but because you were forced to explain yourself over and over again to someone who was never really listening. That exhaustion, that's your spirit telling you that you're pouring into the wrong place. That's your body warning you that you are spending your energy where it's not appreciated, not reciprocated, and not even respected. And here's the truth, when you stop explaining yourself, when you stop engaging with the foolishness, when you stop wasting your time on people who aren't worth it, they will try to make you feel guilty. They will call you arrogant. They will say you've changed. They will act like you think you're too good to have a conversation. But that's not your problem. Their reaction is their business. Your business is staying focused, keeping your peace, and not allowing distractions to pull you away from your purpose. There is a difference between explaining something to someone who genuinely cares and wasting your breath on someone who thrives off seeing you frustrated. Learn to tell the difference. Learn to recognize when a conversation is not about resolution but about control. Learn to see when someone is more invested in keeping you in a place of defensiveness than in actually growing with you. And once you recognize it, have the strength to walk away, because your energy is too valuable for foolishness. Your mind is too sharp. Your heart is too big. Your purpose is too great to be caught up in nonsense. So stop explaining yourself to people who don't matter. Stop justifying your actions to those who will never be satisfied. Stop giving away your peace to those who only want to disrupt it. Keep your energy for the things that move you forward, and let the rest go. There comes a time when words are no longer necessary, when who you are, what you stand for, and how you carry yourself says everything that needs to be said. Too many people waste energy trying to explain themselves, trying to convince others of their value, trying to justify their choices to people who don't matter. But the truth is, the right people won't need an explanation. They will see it in the way you move, in the way you handle yourself, in the way you stay consistent in your purpose. When your life is aligned with who you truly are, words become secondary, because your actions will do all the speaking for you. It's easy to get caught up in trying to prove yourself. You want people to understand your intentions. You want them to see your heart. You want them to believe in your journey. But not everyone will, and that's okay. The people who are meant to be in your life, the people who truly respect you, the people who are aligned with your purpose, they won't need you to constantly explain yourself. They will see your character through your actions. They will recognize your integrity by the way you show up every day. Anyone can say the right words. Anyone can talk about loyalty, about love, about ambition, about faith. But words without action are meaningless. A person's true nature isn't found in what they say. It's found in what they do, in how they move when no one is watching, in how they treat people when there's nothing to gain. That's why it's so important to let your actions be your proof. Instead of explaining who you are, show them. Instead of arguing about your worth, live in a way that makes it undeniable. Instead of wasting time convincing people to believe in you, put that energy into building something so undeniable that they have no choice but to see it. When you stay focused on your path, when you stay committed to your goals, when you stay true to who you are, the right people will take notice. The people who truly matter won't need you to explain every decision you make. They won't demand that you justify your growth. They won't question your every move. They will see the work you put in. They will recognize the sacrifices you've made. They will respect the discipline, the effort, the consistency that separates you from the rest. But those who don't want to understand will never be satisfied, no matter how many times you try to explain yourself. Some people don't want to believe in you, because acknowledging your growth forces them to confront their own lack of growth. Some people would rather doubt you than admit that they are not willing to put in the same effort you are, and if you waste time trying to convince them, you are only slowing yourself down. Your time is better spent doing the work. Your energy is better spent on actions that lead to results, not on words that fall on deaf ears. Because at the end of the day, success doesn't come from talking, it comes from doing. No matter how much explaining you do, it is your results that will ultimately speak for you. The world doesn't remember those who talked about what they were going to do. It remembers those who showed up, stayed disciplined, and did the work. You don't need to argue with people who don't believe in you. You don't need to respond to every doubter, every critic, every person who questions your intentions. Just keep building, keep growing, keep pushing forward, because when your work speaks for itself, there's nothing left to explain. You are not for everyone, and that's okay. Not everyone will like you, not everyone will support you, not everyone will understand you, and that is something you have to come to terms with, if you want to walk in your true power. Too many people waste time and energy trying to be accepted by those who have already decided they don't belong. Too many people shrink themselves, adjust themselves, compromise their values, all in an effort to fit into spaces that were never meant for them in the first place. But the moment you realize that you don't need to be for everyone, the moment you accept that not everyone is going to see your vision, love your spirit, or respect your journey, that's when you free yourself. You could be the kindest, most genuine, most hardworking person in the world, and there will still be people who don't like you. There will still be people who criticize you. There will still be people who doubt you, and it has nothing to do with you. Some people won't like you simply because of the way others love you. Some people won't support you because they don't want to see you do better than them. Some people won't understand you because their minds are too small to grasp the level you're operating on. That is not your burden to carry.
Their opinion of you is not your responsibility. Stop exhausting yourself trying to change minds that are already made up. Stop explaining yourself to people who have no intention of listening. Stop looking for validation from those who will never give it to you. Some people have already decided how they feel about you before you even open your mouth. They don't need a reason not to like you, they just don't. And that's fine, because at the end of the day, you were not put on this earth to make everyone comfortable. You were not created to fit into every crowd. You have a purpose, and that purpose will not be understood by everyone. Think about the most successful, impactful people in history. Did everyone love them? Did everyone support them? Did everyone understand them? Absolutely not. Some of the greatest minds, the most influential leaders, the most powerful voices were rejected, ridiculed, and misunderstood, but they didn't stop. They didn't water themselves down to be more acceptable. They didn't abandon their calling just because certain people didn't approve. They kept going. They walked boldly. They walked confidently. They stayed true to their mission. And the right people, the ones who were meant to see their greatness, recognized it. That's how you have to move. You cannot waste time chasing the approval of those who will never give it. You cannot allow the fear of rejection to keep you from stepping into who you were meant to be. Not everyone will clap when you win. Not everyone will celebrate your success. Not everyone will be happy to see you grow. But that's not your problem. The right people, the ones who genuinely support you, who truly believe in you, who see your heart and your vision, will be there, and they are the only ones who matter. Walk boldly in who you are. Walk confidently in your purpose. Do not let the fear of being misunderstood keep you silent. Do not let the desire for acceptance make you compromise your values. Not everyone will get, not everyone will approve, and that's okay, because the right people will, the ones who are meant to be in your life, the ones who are meant to walk this journey with you, will see you for who you truly are, and rest. That's not your concern. Let God handle them. You just keep moving forward.